Welcome back to Millennial Thermom. I'm really excited today. We're going to be talking to one of my good Thermom friends about movement, confidence, and more. And so I'll just let her kind of start sharing.
Yes, hi everyone. My name's Ashley Lien. I am a licensed marriage and family therapist as well as a mindful movement coach. I really just wanted to be able to bring mental health and physical movement together. That's really a passion of mine. And so that's where Nurtured in Movement was born.
Awesome. Yeah. And actually, I just did a workout this morning. Y'all should definitely go check it out because I was feeling good and I was feeling encouraged. And there is something about the accountability, right? Because I've been trying to wake up early. I don't know how long now. And I think I'm recognizing like that grace with the seasons of life. Like those first 6 months postpartum, there was just no way I was going to be up at 5:45 because my baby was sleeping
Yeah,
2 hours at a time, right?
right.
But now it's like if you're thinking about how can I get movement and if it's realistic for you, it's like figured out
Right.
maybe this is the season. So allowing yourself to kind of check in with your season. And I know you're going to talk about movement. So
Yes.
maybe you can jump into it because I think that movement, especially that first year postpartum, I think it can be really hard
Yes.
to get into your everyday rhythm. So maybe we can just start by that, sharing like what are some of the things that you've seen or encourage like newish parents to do to help with that and why.
Yeah, that's a wonderful question. So I've got two kiddos, right? So I've done this twice now. The first one's actually going to be turning 4 soon, and then
Mm.
the baby just turned a year and a half. So I've been through the postpartum phase twice, and I did not start teaching right away, back into teaching it, right? So
Mhm.
I've been a group fitness instructor for over a decade, and I used to go to the gym. Then 2020
Mhm.
happened, and we took it online.
Mhm.
And then I had got pregnant and I moved the whole time. So I guess before postpartum, moving while you're pregnant, I think is very helpful to find time where you almost feel like you again, knowing that your
Mhm.
body is not your own. Like you
Mhm.
literally have to suspend all control, right? When you're
Mhm.
pregnant, you don't know when you're going to be nauseous. You don't know when your mood is going to, fluctuate. And I feel like moving our body in a way that feels good for us
Mhm.
really gives us that sense of control, even if for a brief moment, you
Yeah.
know? If you can do it in a group, even better, because I think it helps, like to what you're saying, it's just like this accountability, also healing piece to
Mhm.
like look at someone, whether virtually or in person, and just know that you're both like loving and hating the workout at the same
Mhm.
time,
Mhm.
You're
Mhm.
like, I'm not alone.
Yeah, we're
Uh,
struggling. Yeah, that sense of community, it's important in so many in so many areas. And when you're over here doing what did you have us doing? The little ski jumps.
yes, oh my gosh, yeah, the lunge jumps, they're
Oh,
wild.
yeah.
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 So,
So,
and then postpartum, it's about moving in ways that, like you were saying, make sense for what's already happening in your life.
mhm,
If you feel like getting outside for the baby is
mhm,
important, then it's like, okay, you can add a little, walk either just
mhm,
within your house, you can add it just outside.
mhm,
If you're finding time to pick things up, right? And those are considered squats or things that,
mhm.
are just like functional movements. Like you have
Yeah.
to do those all the time. And so
Yeah.
I think it's about doing what's realistic, so not overloading yourself, and the purpose of why you're moving. I think
Mhm,
sometimes when we put the snapback culture at the
mhm,
forefront, I need to get back to being thin or who I once was.
mhm.
It's too much pressure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Because it's no way. And I think
Mm-mm.
in so many ways it invalidates just all of the work that our body did, right? Like I have such an appreciation now. And I'm somebody who in my early 20s, I was counting calories, I was working out for how many calories that I burned, so how many calories can I eat? And it was not good. It was probably an undiagnosed eating thing, right? But I had so
Mm.
much, and I think that's what happens with disordered eating. It's when there's so much
Yeah.
out of our control, we kind of feel, and I've seen it with clients too, like we feel like, well, at least this is one thing I can control, how many calories I consume.
Mm.
And then you couple that with reinforcement from the outside, right? You look
Right.
good. And it's like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
doing a good thing, but it's not healthy because, like you said, it's not really connected, at least for me and others, it's not really connected to your health and wellness.
Nope.
It's how do I look and how do other people see me? And I'm like,
Right.
oh, we need to kind of separate that. So you're right, like that snapback stuff, cool. If J-Lo pops out looking like J-Lo pre-babies, that's her. That's her life,
Right.
right? It's not
Yeah.
me, and that shouldn't be the standard. Like, unless you look like this a week
Right.
after having a baby, you're good. Like, no, I'm gonna let my panza
Right.
out because she just carried a whole
That's
baby.
right.
She got
Right.
kicked. She, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, and I'm still working through it, but I love my body so much more now. And I think about it all the time when I'm in the gym. I'm like, I'm doing this so that because my baby's getting heavy. And I'm like,
Yes.
so that I can hold her when we walk into the car and not be out of breath,
Yes.
so that I can squat while she and pick her up while she's throwing a little protest and not be like, I can't, I can't carry you, you know, or so we can have
Yes.
dance parties. And I'm not like, I mean, I'm still going to be tired, but like I
Right.
could still carry her and do our dance parties. And I think that's a better why for all of us. It's
Yes.
like,
I
how does it
agree.
connect to your values, you know, and how you want to show up? So,
Right, because that's the motivating thing. People
mhm,
are always like, "Oh, I'm just not motivated." And I'm like, "Because it's not the right goal." You know what I mean? It's like
mhm,
that's just not what really that's not that may be what your mind thinks, but what your body is telling you is that it doesn't want to do it for that reason.
yeah,
It's like it wants to do it for all the other things.
mhm,
Like you're saying, to have fun with your family, to be able to just go out and do things that make you forget about what's all the things that are going on in the world.
mhm,
So that's
mhm,
why I say, folks should try to, or not should, but want to practice, things that they're already doing. So, like I
yeah,
said, if you're cleaning, it's like maybe you're just going to clean a little bit, with more
mhm,
intensity because the
mhm,
cleaning helps you to feel like, okay, I'm picking things up and also I'm getting some movement in there.
mhm,
It could also be traditional, like we were like,
mhm,
that it's a cultural thing, right? A lot of us Latinas, we like to listen to music really
mhm,
loud and like clean. Then let's just do that, right?
mhm.
Like,
That's
why
a
can't
workout.
that count?
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. And you know
And
what I'm finding? It's like, as much as sometimes we say we do things for ourselves, like if we're also doing it for our kids. Because in the
yeah,
kitchen, for example, like I've already figured out, like I need to wash those dishes as like early as we can, right? Because
yeah,
otherwise it's just a stimuli, extra stimuli.
yeah.
But after we eat and everything, I'll just have her sit there while I'm washing the dishes and I'm dancing, and she'll be dancing with me. You know, she's like dancing.
That's
Like
so cute.
my best parenting tool is a mozzarella cheese stick. So
Yes.
then I'll
I
put
love
one in there, and then I
that.
get like 5 more minutes. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
but just to see her singing and dancing, I'm like, you're also learning how to move your body and release the stress and the tension. I'm like,
Yes.
that reinforces it for me. I'm like, yeah, this is like generational. Like she's seeing how I'm coping. She's copying
Yes.
me. She's copying everything. And I'm like, whoo,
Right.
not too much pressure,
Yeah.
but like, okay, I can show her ways that we move and we dance every morning and we sing and we sway. And that's like wealth right there. But,
Yes.
so.
Absolutely. And I think it's just not talked about enough, and I think there's just a lot of pressure, like we're saying to maybe chase after looking like J-Lo, and we're not taking into account that folks at the top have like a million things that they're not doing that we all have to do. I'm pretty
Mhm.
sure they haven't folded clothes in like 20 years. You know what I mean? It's like so different for us that we're trying to hold so many things. We're trying
Yeah.
to hold, right, raising, kids, where we're trying to give them just little, like no tease at all, like no
Mhm.
traumas, or if they are, they're like little tease, not
Yeah,
like
yeah,
these
yeah.
big
A
teeth, you know
huge,
what
yeah.
I
It's like you're
mean?
trying to break cycles.
Yeah. Yes,
Yes,
yeah. And
yes,
so I think, but the movement is the part that's also for us too. So it's
yes.
nice because it does both. Like you're saying, we
Yeah,
get to role model for our kiddos. How this is how we can release, a lot
mhm,
of things, stress, generational traumas in ways that feel good for us. And it's time where we feel like us,
yeah,
even when our body is going through its changes, because it always will.
yeah,
It's like it's ours. It's our time for ourselves.
yeah, yeah. And it's like, I think about it in the, what is it, like scarcity, or I guess more like scarcity or survival mindset, and then like long-term mindset,
Mm.
which I think what's happening right now, and I just did a story on this because I feel like that's psychological oppression. When people are placed into survival responses, then it's harder for them
Yes.
to be healthy, be well,
Right.
And I'm just
Yes.
like, look at the outcomes for people in our country. Like,
Right.
Black and Latino people have more like heart conditions, they have more issues
Yes.
postpartum. And I'm like, that's not a coincidence. That's because there's
Mm-mm.
more layers of stress. So I think
Yes.
that being able to fight back against that, right? In like,
Hmm.
no, I know that I have my body for life and I
Yes.
can do things right now that help, Senora Joanna, right? Like later on, she's going to be
Hmm.
strong, she's going to be healthy, and being able to get out of that survival funk that all these systems
Yes.
are pushing us. And I'm like, no, 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 no. I refuse. I'm gonna take care of
Yeah.
myself, and I think that's my Instagram recently. I'm like on fire because I'm like, you deserve wellness, thing, so.
Yeah, it's so true. And community through that wellness, and I think that's the piece that, being here in the state, like what it has become here in the States is very individualized, right? And that is not how our people have lived, like
Hmm.
ever,
Hmm.
And so I think we have to get back to that. And your community
Hmm.
doesn't have to just be your family, right? Like as
Hmm.
we're talking about how even your chosen community, your
Hmm.
chosen
Hmm.
family, um, I think that that's so important. And so that's why I've tried to kind of, yeah, like merge all those things
Hmm.
together,
Hmm.
right? Thinking about yourself, even if just for a brief moment,
Hmm.
because your
Hmm.
kids need to see that healing together with other folks who are going through similar things,
Hmm.
and then taking it out on the workout, right? Like just
Hmm.
getting it all out there, like, okay. And
Yeah.
then to go back about your life. And even if the stress is going to come after that, 5, 10, 30 minutes, it's
Hmm.
like you at least had that for you.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I recently the whole like pockets of joy and like safety
Yeah,
has
I like that.
really been at my forefront. And it's like, yeah, even if it's the world can be a hot mess, the world can be on fire, and we can find our energy and resource ourselves so that we can continue to fight for and from a place of love and
Right.
justice, not fear and hate, because that's what a lot of
Right.
people are already doing. And it's like,
Hmm.
hate on hate is only going to create more hate. Like, let's do things out of how much we love ourselves and our family,
Yes.
and advocate that way, right? Like, I
Hmm.
there's this one Reverend, her name is Jackie Lewis, and she has this thing. She's like fierce love. She's like, that's her thing. She's like,
Mm.
just love, love, period. That's it. But she talks about love being radical and love being action, and I'm just like, I love that. Like, she's really
Yeah.
inspired my way of thinking. But I think like the pockets of joy you're creating are really cool.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
did want
And
to,
that,
yeah.
oh yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I just wanted to be able to make sure that you could share some of the stuff that you got going on, and then
Oh
whatever
yeah.
other thought that you had too. I'll let you
Yeah.
finish that.
I think it was just gonna piggyback on you with like making sure that fierce love also starts with you,
Hmm.
and that
Hmm.
does not mean that you are not still thinking about your family because
Hmm.
you're a unit of the family that's important. And if you can't,
Hmm.
if you start to crumble, like everybody's gonna go down. So I would
Hmm.
say it's not selfish to focus on you knowing that you're part of the family system or
Yeah,
community system,
yeah,
even,
yeah. That's a
so
big
that fierce
theme.
love.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
big theme in
right.
therapy where when people have that realization, like, oh, I realize that when I take care of myself, like I don't feel as guilty. I don't snap as much. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not very nice when I'm burnt out either.
No,
So,
no.
you know what I mean? So it
Yes.
really is a
So,
collective thing.
yes. And that's what I'm hoping to build. I think,
Hmm.
that's the big piece. The last part that you were saying in terms of what I've got to offer is just, workouts for
Hmm.
folks. So, you can find me early in the mornings, as you
Hmm.
mentioned, 5:45 a.m. PST, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday for some
Hmm.
workouts, both spin classes and strength workouts. And then I am trying to bring um more knowledge to our people essentially, right?
Hmm.
And so that's where I've collaborated with a dietitian to try to bring knowledge that is culturally respectful, so making sure that we understand our traditions, that we don't shy away from them, and
Hmm.
also look at our relationship to food. So it's
Hmm.
free from the diet diet culture talk and things like that. It's very weight inclusive
Yeah.
knowledge about food. And then eventually I'm hoping to do, pelvic floor therapists and just really
Mhm.
speaking to our people since we've really gotten away from that or we've fallen into, yeah, just like the only
Oops, sorry.
big
Ignore that timer. I don't know if you can see
American
that.
culture.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for some reason I'm like, I heard the timer thingy and I was trying to stop it. But yeah, I agree. I think that I appreciate how you're trying to bring in like this more, yeah, inclusive and like health doesn't have to look like this really skinny
Yes.
figure, because not everybody's biology is even that. So it's
No.
like, let's not hurt ourselves trying to make ourselves fit into that mold. It's like, what
Right.
a strong and healthy look for you. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
we can switch up the narrative, like you said.
Yeah, and free ourselves from weight being the main way that we're measuring health, you know? And
Hmm.
it's not to say that, like you were saying, the systems have not oppressed us by making our health more, difficult to achieve like in a good way,
Hmm.
as we're more impacted, like our heart, our bodies, all the things for Black and Brown people. And it's because we're trying to fit into a mold that wasn't made for us. And
Yeah.
so it's like, how can we think about our relationship to movement, to food, and to community, and take it back to kind of where we came from, which was how we thrived to begin
Yeah,
with.
yeah, yeah. I love that. My mom would always talk about, círculos, like just coming
Yeah.
together. They have some music. Whoever wants to dance, you dance. Whoever wants to sing, there's the mic. Other comadres
Right.
are over here talking, like that's therapy.
Yes.
It doesn't look like the traditional sense, but movement, food, taking care of our bodies, like that's part of the puzzle. So it's
Yeah.
awesome. Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I'm grateful for you, like using your heart and your passion for this and creating something. I think we're definitely in an uprising right now where just everyone is trying to put their part of the puzzle, even if their part of the puzzle is, I'm going to shower today. I use that example a
Right.
lot because there are some days when that's the biggest win. Or I'm just going to
I agree.
love my little brown baby, like
Yeah.
that's a revolution. So I appreciate you like, yeah, taking care of yourself because I know that you have to take care of yourself to take care of others. So
Yes.
like
I mean,
using that.
truly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that pouring from the empty cup, I think, has always resonated. I just think sometimes we forget why, right? I think people think it's individualistic to think about only your cup. And I think it's more like, no, if we all have cups,
Mhm.
we kind of want to just keep pouring into each other,
Like
But if you
overflowing.
don't have, yeah, if you don't have anything to pour from, then you're not going to have anything to give out, and people will
Mhm.
feel that.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you so much sharing
Thank
and just
you.
like being in my life in general.
Yeah.
So can you just share your IG and your website one more time? And then I'll make sure to put it around here somewhere.
Yes, so it's nurturedinmovement.com. And then that's my IG handle as well,
Okay.
Nurtured in Movement. Yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for
Thank you.
speaking to the community that we got here online, and you take care.
Thank you.
Bye.